Hi, guys. So, bedtime stories is the last one of the week, obviously, because Mrs. Consolver, she loves and she treasures family time, and it's the weekend. So, we don't need to work that much. We have to spend and treasure these moments for good. So, I'm going to read you this one today, The Tale of Peter Rabbit. So, I really hope that during the weekend you can read before you go to bed or whenever you can. I just love this series. I don't know why. And I read it to my son, and my son loves it too, even though they're pretty long. Probably a lot of you already know it, but this is a way for me to keep in touch with you. Okay? So it starts like this. Once upon a time, there were four little rabbits, and their names were Flopsy, Mopsy, Cottontail, and Peter. They were lived with their mother in a sand bank underneath the root of a very big fir tree. Now, my dears, said old Mrs. Rabbit one morning, you may go into the fields or down the lane, but don't go into Mr. McGregor's garden. Your father had an accident there. He was put in a pie by Mrs. McGregor. Oh my goodness, that's not good. Now run along and don't get into mischief. I am going out. Then old Mrs. Rabbit took a basket and her umbrella and went through the wood to the baker's. She bought a loaf of brown bread and 5 currant buns. Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail, who were good little bunnies, went down to lane to gather blackberries. I love blackberries. Those are my favorite fruit. Well, actually, my son loves blackberries so much. So right now that we cannot go to the stores, he's having a hard time right now. But Peter, who was very naughty, ran straight away to Mr. McGregor's garden and squeezed under the gate. First, he ate some lettuce and some French beans, and then he ate some radishes. Hmm, I like radishes actually. I know that a lot of people don't like radishes, but I do. But I don't eat them that often though. And then, feeling rather sick, he went to look for some parsley. But round the end of a cucumber frame, who should he meet but Mr. McGregor? Mr. McGregor was on his hands and knees planting out young cabbages, but he jumped up and ran after Peter, waving a rake and calling out, Stop, thief! Even though his mom told him to stay away from there. Ugh! Peter was most dreadfully frightened. He rushed all over the garden, for he had forgotten the way back to the gate. He lost one of his shoes among the cabbages and the other shoe amongst the potatoes. After losing them, he ran on 4 legs and went faster, so that I think he might have got away altogether if he had not unfortunately run into a gooseberry net and got caught by the large buttons on his jacket. Take a look at that. Remember, when we read, we have to visualize, even though they have, like, the pictures, but it's a good thing for you to visualize how many, sensory details this story is giving us. Prediction. What do you think is going to happen? Is he going to lose that jacket or what? Right? Peter gave himself up for lost and shed big tears, but his sobs were overheard by some friendly sparrows who flew to him in great excitement and implored him to exert himself. Mr. McGregor came up with a sieve, which he intended to pop upon the top of Peter, but Peter rigged out just in time, leaving his jacket behind him. Take a look at this. That Peter the rabbit, come on, man, and rushed into the tool shed and jumped into a can. It would have been a beautiful thing to hide in. It had not had so much water in it. Mr. McGregor was quite sure that Peter was somewhere in the tool shed, perhaps hidden underneath a flower pot. He began to turn them over carefully, looking under each. Presently Peter sneezed. Kerchoo! Mr. McGregor was after him in no time. Look at that! He found him. Do you think that he's going to find him? Do you think that he's going to turn him into a pie? Maybe a lot of you already know this story, but I like this story. And tried to put his foot upon Peter, who jumped out of a window, upsetting 3 plants. The window was too small for Mr. McGregor, and he was tired of running after Peter. He went back to his work. Peter sat down to rest. He was out of breath and trembling with fright, and he had not the least idea which way to go. Also, he was very, very damp with seating in that can. After a time, he began to wonder about going limpty limpty, not very fast, and looking all round. My goodness. He went back towards the tool shed, but suddenly, quite close to him, he heard the noise of a scratch, scratch, screech. Do you see this? These are sensory words. I hear, right? Do you see that? Screech, scratch, scratch. Those are sensory, okay? Peter scuttered underneath the bushes, but presently, as nothing happened, he came out and climbed upon a wheelbarrow and peeped over. The first thing he saw was Mr. McGregor hoeing onions. His back was turned towards Peter, and beyond him was the gate. Peter got down very quietly off the wheelbarrow and started running as fast as he could along a straight walk behind some black currant bushes. Mr. McGregor caught sight of him at the corner, but Peter did not care. He slipped underneath the gate and was safe at last in the wood outside the garden. Look at that. He came out. I like that. Mr. McGregor hung the little jacket and the shoes for a scarecrow to frighten the blackbirds. Look what he did. Funny. Peter never stopped running or looked behind him till he got home to the big fir tree. He was so tired that he flopped down upon the nice soft sand. Do you see this? Nice soft on the floor of the rabbit. Nice and soft. Again, sensory details. What am I touching? Do you see? Nice and soft. His mother was busy cooking. She wondered what he had done with his clothes. It was the second little jacket and a pair of shoes that Peter had lost in a foresight. That Peter the rabbit gets pretty naughty, huh? I am sorry to say that Peter was not very well during the evening. His mother put him to bed and made some chamomile tea, and she gave a dose of it to Peter, 1 tablespoonful to be taken at bedtime. But Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail had bread and milk and blackberries for supper. Okay, so let's see. Let's think about the theme and let's think about a learning lesson. What did you learn? Um, let's just think for a moment. All right, his mom told him to not go there. He didn't care and he went. How many times we have done this? How many times our parents, our teachers, and really good people have told us not to do something, but we still do it, okay? It seems to me that Peter the rabbit, he learned his lesson, right? He was very lucky that he was not turned into a pie. I've been Peter Rabbit many times, okay? Even now that I'm an adult. Sometimes, my husband or my friends tell me to not do something, and I'm like, no, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to do it. And I don't care about what they say or what. But I ended up doing it, and then I ended up noticing that maybe the outcome was not super bad, but the outcome has taught me a lesson. So I feel like this is a big lesson for you guys to know that when someone tells you to not do something, it's because they have had an experience before. And when I was a little kid and when I was a young girl, when I was, a young woman, I thought that I knew better than my mom. I thought that I knew better than my dad or my teachers. I thought that I had it all and I knew it all. But then I had to learn in the really bad ways. And, this is a really great experience about Peter the rabbit. He learned his lesson, and I'm pretty sure that from now on, he's going to listen to his mom. And he's probably not going to go back there. Luckily, he didn't end up in a pie, right? And that happened to me too. Luckily, I didn't have really bad things happen to me, thank goodness. But I've been Peter Rabbit. I've been Peter Rabbit, and I learned from my mistakes. And just like you guys, we're not perfect, and I tell you that all the time. And remember, you're going to be a somebody. You're going to be a leader of this country. And I've been telling you, I want great leaders because you're going to be my leader. I mean, I'm getting old, guys, and you're going to be my kids' leader too. So you better be good, okay? I sure love and miss you guys. Have a wonderful weekend. Mwah. Love you, class of 2032.